Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Hera English School online teaching. Today inshallah we are going to see the remaining part of the lesson number 1 of political science section, working of the constitution. We had started with the working of the constitution. Let us recapitulate some of the points. The points were regarding the political maturity. The democracy, it strengthens because of the decentralization of power. Then we understood regarding the right to information, that is RTE. Then we further moved on to social justice and equality, that is equal rights given to individual Indian citizen, whether he is a belonging to any lower class or upper class, or whether he is a rich or whether he is a poor. Now we further move on to see the policies of reservation of seats. Now, policy of reservation of seat is meant for those sections of the society who have been deprived of the opportunities for education and employment for a long period of time. See, during the British rule, people were differentiated on the basis of caste system in the old Hindu religion. Because of that, there was a problem and the lower class was not allowed to have education. Only the people of the higher caste were selected for giving education. That's why they were not able to get the education at that level. Now such people, they are being given the opportunities in educational institutions and in the government services. Maybe if they are having less score of marks, then also they are being given these opportunities. For example, the students from the Adivasis, if he is having a certificate of Adivasi, then he is given lot of opportunities in the education section as well. Now, particularly some seats are reserved for such students if they come from the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. There is also a provision of reservation of seat for the other backward classes. Okay, that is called as the OBC. We move on to the scheduled caste and tribe, that is Prevention of Atrocity Act for these people. This is an important act for establishing social justice and equality among the people of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. This act prevents any injustice against the people belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, and any act of atrocities committed against them is liable for punishment. That means against the laws and anything which is done wrong against these people, against the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. Who are these scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people? See, we know there are many of the caste and religions which are living in the remote areas of India. They are very less in number and they are having different tribes. Like the Adivasis we see, the Warlis and the Thakars in Maharashtra especially, and the Kolis, and in the Bihar also, and in many of the places we will see these lower caste peoples. They live in small groups, especially they live in the forest like areas, and they have very less resources with them. They sell out the forest products. Such kind of people, they are not related or linked with the mainstream of education. They are living the nomadic life. What do you mean by nomadic life? They are not settled anywhere. They go on with their cattle and herds of cattle and move from one place to another. according to the grazing grounds for the cattles. Okay, such kind of people, they are been given many of the provisions and reservation of seats, because very less amount of students or children from these area come out as a educated person and they move further towards higher education. So to motivate them and make them educated in many of the fields, they are being provided with the reservation, and acts are there, laws are being made to prevent that nobody does anything wrong with these people. Now provisions for minorities. Now what do you mean by minority? The population of such people like the community of Jain, the community of Muslims, the community of Sikh people, the community of Parsi people in India are in minority. That is, large section of people in India are Hindu religion, and those who are other than Hindu and less in amount or less in population, these are all coming under minorities. Now, the Indian Constitution has made several provisions for the protection of minorities. The government has adopted several policies for minorities to provide them with the opportunities for education and employment, because everybody should get equal opportunity in all the fields, whether it is education, whether it is an employment, whether it is a higher studies. Okay, so minority people are also given provisions in education and employment. The Indian Constitution prohibits discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, race, language and region. This is a comprehensive provision for minorities which fundamentally protects their rights to equality, freedom, right against exploitation and cultural and educational rights. Okay, provisions for minorities we see this way. Now we further move on to the laws relating to the women provision for representations. In the past independence period, efforts were made for empowering the woman. Now, as we know, in India, women were not given the standard of living as per, and they were being considered as the second grade citizens, and they were only restricted to making the food and taking care of the children. But as so the women in before the independence and also after the independence were not allowed for education rights, and they were given very limited rights. Many of the acts and provisions are made now which help the woman to get her status back. The right to have an equal share in the property of the father and husband is one of such act. Then we find Dowry Prohibition Act. Then the Act Against the Sexual Harassments. Domestic Violence Prohibition Acts are some of the important provisions which are created a favorable environment for the woman, safety and protection of the freedom of woman. Okay, we further move on to page number 72. In our country, from the very beginning, women have inadequate representation in the politics and political institutions. Many countries in the world have made efforts to increase the representation of the women. From this perspective, changes are taking place in India also. The 73rd and the 74th Amendment reserved 33% of the seats for the women in the local self-governing institutions. This percentage has been raised to 50% in Maharashtra. Okay. A National Commission for Women has been established for the similar matters and also exist in the state level Act. The Act for the Protection of Women Against the Domestic Violence is an important step in the direction of the democracy, and this Act underlines the need to protect the dignity and self-esteem of the women. This Act rejected traditional form of domination of the male-dominated society and expanded the scope of Indian democracy to make inclusive in a true sense. In the true sense, the woman should feel safe and secure in her home and also in the society. For that, such kind of laws and acts were provided. Then we further move on to see the role of judiciary. What is judiciary? The justice, equal right for justice given to each and every individual citizen of India, whether he belong to low caste, whether he belong to minority, whether he belong to a rich family and higher upper class. So let us understand how this judiciary system works. The judiciary in India has played an important role in strengthening the democracy and helping to make towards achieving the objectives of social justice and equality. While interpreting the provisions of the Constitution, the judiciary has also always taken into consideration the fundamental objectives of the Constitution and also the intentions of the Constitution makers. We will try to understand the contribution of the judiciary in this regard with the help of the following points. Okay, how this works, let us see on these basis. The basic framework of the Constitution is the first point. Now, the Constitution is dynamic. It is a living document. The Constitution has to change according to the changing condition, and the Parliament has a power to make those changes accordingly. Now, we had seen in the recently only few years ago, there were lot many rape cases of the women, and to put a strict law, the Parliament had made a constitution change so that a strict punishment is given to the person who does this wrong act. So constitution is always changing according to the situation. The judiciary has accepted this power of the Parliament to make the changes in the constitution, but at the same time specified the limitations of this power. Everybody should agree to it in the Parliament, and then the bill is passed. The judiciary has taken a stand that the Parliament, while amending the Constitution, cannot alter the basic structures of the Constitution. The Constitution has given many of the rights, many of the laws, which basically cannot be changed. But if some minor change is done for the welfare of the society and is agreed in the Parliament by all the members of the Parliament, then it is okay. So we say that the Constitution is dynamic and it is a living document. Now the second point we move on to is the significant judicial decisions. The protection provided to the citizen by fundamental rights in the Constitution has been made more meaningful through various decisions of judiciary. Some of the important subjects on which the court has given judgments include the right of the children, protection of the human rights, protection of the honor and dignity of the woman, the individual protection, and the tribal empowerment. Now, one by one we'll see. First one is including the rights for children. What are the rights for children? Till 14 years of age, they should get free of cost education. They should get safety, security from the government. Healthy food should be provided to them. Then the protection of human rights. No matter which religion or region the person belongs to, but he should be given equal rights as a human being. Now, protection of the honor and dignity of women. The women should be safe and they should feel safety in each and every square of the life. This is what is the protection. As we have seen, many of the acts are being made to protect the women from this kind of problem. Then the individual freedom and the tribal empowerment. Each individual as a citizen of India has all the rights to protect the people. Then we see the tribal empowerment. What do you mean by tribal? Tribal means those people, especially we will see the example is that of the Adivasi peoples. We see they are given many of the rights, provisions and reservations of seats are being made for them so that they can be doing a kind of a safety for them. Okay, and these efforts have made the political process in India more mature. With this, the democracy has become more stronger in India, and each and every individual is having a safety and security. Now in this chapter we took a review of the constitution and the working of the government on the basis of constitution in the context of Indian democracy. There are many challenges before India's democracy. Government's acts and policies have not put an end to all the problems. There are several new problems confronting before us. We need to face them. There are challenges. However, what is important is that the people in India have developed a democratic mindset. For the people, by the people and with the people is the motto of the Indian democracy. Motto means a kind of an aim. Okay. In the next chapter, we will study the election process. Okay. So, we end here. Inshallah, we'll continue next time. Jazakallah.